Hour 2 Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Bryan Hayes, Doug, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles, McLennan. Got Carlo Colaiacovo coming up. He'll join us in studio here in just a moment. I noticed the Leafs stayed in Florida last night, skated this morning, did some media, and then they flew up this afternoon.
I think a lot of teams are doing that, and the only reason I make that assessment is because when you see their post-game media on the television, you see their shin pads and their gear hanging behind them, where usually it would be in a bag in the hallway in a truck on the way to the airport. So I think a lot of teams just decide, instead of like flying home, getting home late, not the best sleep, they stay, maybe practice, and then just take the afternoon and chill out and fly home.
Yeah, makes sense. That's what their sports science people will want. Plus, there's no rush. It's nice weather. You can have a team meal afterwards, relax, get to bed at a reasonable time, get up, practice, and then move on.
They play Wednesday, right? They don't play tomorrow night. So I'm always wondering, is that a we need to avoid the city decision? Like, we don't need the craziness of what's coming up here in Toronto, or is it a sports science, because that makes a lot of sense. Like, why fly home, land at 2:30 in the morning, scramble to get home, and it's, all of a sudden everything's out of whack. Why not stay down there? I think it's a smart play.
It is. It's a smart play. And I don't think it's avoid the city, Brian. I think it's more about just managing your sleep schedule and managing just your body rest.
It's a simple concept of what's the rush. Like, what
totally.
Like, everybody sleeps better. Everybody's it's slowed down a little bit, as opposed to let's get the hell out of here, get to the airport to get home at 3 o'clock in the morning. There's no rush to do that.
Yeah, there's no need for it, especially, again, with 2 full days off in between Game 5 on Wednesday night. All right, here's our main man. You hear him every morning, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on TSN Radio. And first up, here's Carlo Colaiacovo.
Bang!
Dang, that's loud, eh? It was loud. We'll get you up, man. Well, that's what we hear. You know how many times JP, who's in Japan right now, I have to mention that every time I say his name, will play when you're on or we mention your name, he'll play that bang drop.
Oh, and it just blows your ear off?
If you're not prepared for it, it's so loud, and it throws me off. It drives me nuts. So now you just experienced what we have to experience all the time.
There it is.
There it is, exactly.
It is.
Like when you're not waiting for it, and I'll mention, I'll be like, well, I was listening to Carlo this morning, and then it just hits, and I'm like, dude, you can't do that. I'm trying to finish my thought here. Like, please don't do that. So anyway, good to see you, man. Look at you, all world championship. Buddy. Like, you got the whole thing dialed in, eh?
Got to look good for the part, right?
Absolutely.
Pretty good game I just did, Sweden versus Finland. But Canada, man, that roster's
dude,
are they just going to kill everybody?
Yeah, they should kill everybody.
I mean, they should.
Yeah, they better. The expectation is a
goal.
But
you never know. Some other teams might be like. Does any other team have any kind of heater lineup like that, or what can you? And after that, explain what the hell happened. It just trickle down effect. Sid said, "I'm going," so then everyone else just piled on and said, "I better get there too."
I mean, and once Sid goes, and then MacKinnon goes, it's like, how are you saying no to the invite if those two guys go? And I think that was the trickle-down effect. I think before Sid was named, they recruited some good guys to go, but then you bring over Binnington, you bring over Braden Shen, Brandon Montour. Like, if they don't win gold,
you're a heavy favorite, man. You're a heavy favorite.
I mean, Sweden looks pretty good. They're not as deep on the back end. They got Markstrom in net. Czechia, the defending champs, like, they used the home crowd last year to help push them to the end, but
yeah, I mean, but you're looking at this, Carlo. This Canadian team should just dummy people. Even the Team USA. You look at the roster. There's some good players. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, they lost to Switzerland today, though.
Zeev Bayayim.
That's the kid who just came up in Minnesota.
Yeah. There's Logan Cooley, Josh Doan, Mikey Esselmont. Like, there's some good players, but they're not. It's not Crosby, MacKinnon.
No.
You're getting a lot of depth for the Canadian team. Now, is the Canadian team kind of just wading their way into? I saw Sid punching guys in the head there.
Well,
too,
I want to bring that up with you guys because sort of the reputation that MacKinnon gets around the league with guys that know him is he's a little bit of a snap show. And Saturday, they were playing Slovenia. It was 4-0 in the third period, and Nate got a breakaway, and he hit the post. And as he's skating out of the zone, he slams his stick on the glass as he was, like, really pissed off, like a 5-0 goal late in the game.
Yeah.
And there was an incident in last game against Latvia where he missed another scoring chance, and he went to the bench, and he slammed the door shut. And I kind of wonder, with how close Nate and Sid are, the more they hang out with each other, the more Nate's rubbing off on Sid, because they were playing Latvia yesterday, and Crosby's losing his mind.
You got to relax over there, man. It's the group stage.
But here's the thing, Hayes.
Yeah.
And Mark Giordano pointed this out to me. He said, it's even more important for young guys that are there on this roster to watch how competitive these two guys are in a nothing game against Latvia.
Oh, there's benefits to it, for sure.
Smashing your stick off the glass isn't showing anybody anything.
I know, but
I don't think you want Macklin Celebrini doing that next time he's,
by the way,
misses.
He's looked unreal in 2 games.
As he should,
He's
man.
a
What
player,
a setup.
man.
Yeah.
He's a player.
What a setup.
What do you guys
for him.
think? Outside chance of Olympic team next year? Celebrini?
So between the 4 nations and the Olympic team, we'd have to think there's probably going to be, 6 or 7 new faces?
Yeah,
on that
generally,
team?
there's turnover.
I think absolutely Celebrini could be.
That would be
guy
quite
on
the
the
feather in his cap, man.
Yeah.
To be that young and to be thrust into a way more important, like the most important tournament you can play in.
So
in terms
today,
of pressure and all that.
Today, who are you taking if you had to take one, Celebrini or Bedard?
Oh, it's not even.
Yeah, I think it's Celebrini all day,
right.
man. Yeah.
Which is scary to think.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at it, though, Carlo, Celebrini's game is a little bit more well-rounded right now.
Yes,
like he was up there statistically in loose puck battles, turning pucks over, like where Bedard, everybody you talked to in Chicago, and I've had a couple conversations with coaches and stuff there, they're saying, yeah, with the puck, he's fantastic. Without it, he's still learning. That's their thing, still learning. I'm like, if you look at analytically, how much a guy has the puck on their stick. McDavid has it on his stick, it seems like, the whole game.
Yeah.
He has it really a minute 29, minute 30 of actual time on his stick. So the rest of the time, you've got to play without the puck. And I think that's where Bedard struggles is I don't think he's fast enough in certain areas to get there. He's not strong enough yet. I say yet because there's still long runway. There were these conversation guys when Nate MacKinnon was first coming into the league. He was a 50, 60 point, 40 points, then 60 points. Like, it took him a while to arrive. I hope Bedard is like that. Oh, you've been loving this guy for a couple of years, but he just hasn't arrived yet the way you expected.
Well, there's a bunch of factors into it, too. The team is complete trash. Like, it's as bad as NHL roster as anyone could have assembled. They try to get some veteran leader, whatever they try to do, but it's terrible. It's a terrible team, terrible. The whole roster, top to bottom, is garbage.
Right.
But how much does a 19-year-old kid have? Like, you want him to rise up from that and just score 40 goals and do this and do that? I don't know.
You got to be reasonable. You got to be reasonable.
Yeah, with that roster, like what's going on there in Chicago, I really don't know what the hell anyone should expect. The fact he got like 60 points this year, I think is honestly a miracle.
Well, yeah,
it's a miracle.
When you consider who he's played with, that's why I don't know the whole backstory as to why he's not at the Worlds, but why is he not at the Worlds? I mean, this is where if you never
I think
win,
he went there last year, and it was like he didn't play a bunch.
I hear you. I understand that, but it's like you've had nothing but losing. Now you've got almost a locked gold medal where you can jump on a bandwagon with Sid. Anyway, let's get into what happened last night. We haven't really talked about Domi on Barkov, Kulikov on Marner. Now, Domi got fined $5,000. Mm-hmm. To my knowledge, Kulikov, nothing's coming of it.
No.
Are you surprised by either of the outcomes on either of those plays?
I'm surprised that there's no call on this one.
Kulikov elbowing.
It's a missed call.
You can even go back to the overtime in Game 3 when Rodriguez leaps at Tavares' head. And I look at those two plays. I think Domi got what I expected, and he's lucky that Barkov got right up after that hit. Because if Barkov labors at all, and then he leaves, and we don't know if he's okay or not, he's probably getting a game.
Mm.
I thought the Kulikov elbow was just as bad or worse than that hit.
100% it was.
Why doesn't Kulikov get
Okay,
fined?
so this is what I want to ask you guys.
Timing of the game, too. This is with no seconds left on the clock. You go and run, and a third line player goes and runs a star player from behind,
and he gets right up. That's
I understand that.
Right?
And listen,
so did Marner. Marner got up too.
Marner got up, but that was during the game. It was whether you like it or not, hockey play or not. It's a penalty 100% that was missed.
Yeah.
But I think the hitting from behind is way worse. Like, I thought that was a greasy hit from behind from Domi.
So this is what I want to ask you guys.
Yeah,
you see the incidents that Florida has found themselves in. Rodriguez, Barkov, the Bennett one, whatever. The Leafs aren't getting the benefits of the call. But when I look at that Marner play and I look at the Tavares play, isn't it part of their responsibility, Marner, Tavares, to sell those plays to draw penalties?
You're getting down a spicy road.
Well,
there.
no, I mean, it's playoffs.
You
right?
could argue Tavares did. Like, Tavares, he threw his head back, and it may have been reactionary. It may have been an honest reaction.
Right.
But he did. I think there was some salesmanship to that. Marner, I don't know. I mean, Marner was stunned.
Kind of buckled,
like Marner. I hear what you're saying. Like the Rodriguez one. Rodriguez is tough to get a read on. Now Ekman-Larsson got him. When you're not expecting, you get hit. I'm sure he was winded, and he was like, "I got to get out of here."
But he sold it.
And that's what he's done twice now.
Right.
Is like, I got to get out of here. I got to go down the tunnel. But they called the 5 on Ekman-Larsson. I think they got it right to review it and eventually called it 2.
100% they. But part of understanding how to win in the playoffs isn't a skill of learning how to draw penalties.
Yeah,
I mean, you're giving yourself an advantage by doing it. I just think that. Look, I'm not asking anybody to
priority
fake it.
list, man. I get it. You want to go on the power play, but I think as far as what needs to go on Wednesday night, I did not even have that on the top of my mind as one of the things that needs to be worked on. To be honest with you.
Well,
I'm not saying they need to work on it. I'm just saying you just wish that there would be a better understanding in those moments how big a power play can be. It's a one-goal game yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a good point. I thought the Leafs, if you actually go back to it, Carlo, Game 1, the Leafs sold a few plays.
Yes.
And they got the calls, right?
Yep.
They got a bunch of penalties against Ottawa where, whether it was a penalty or not, they were like, hey, this is a penalty, or hey, look at this. I think as the playoffs go on, though, the refs are looking like they don't want to be the difference makers. I think the elbow on Marner, that was a missed call. I think, Rodriguez on Tavares, those are missed calls. But, I look at the Domi one, it's just the timing of it.
Yes.
They went out for a little pound of flesh at the end of the game. Good for you. You know what I mean?
I like that.
I didn't mind that. I had no
that's
problem
the way
with
it should
that.
be,
That's
man.
playoff hockey.
Yeah.
And McMahon went after
was it Kachuk
Marchand.
he went after?
No, he went after Marchand.
Yes.
It was Kachuk that was chirping Nylander on the bench.
I guess earlier in the game, McMahon had got Kachuk down. They were back checking, and he got him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, listen, Florida. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. The Florida Panthers, nobody is going to shed a tear because Barkov got buried at the end of the game. That's how they play. They would do the exact same thing. Marchand would bury Matthews from behind if he had the chance.
Look what Kachuk did at the end of Game 1.
Yeah, exactly. He's chasing Marner around. No one. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. I don't think. I think you make a very valid point and an important point. Because Barkov got right up, they were never going to call anything.
Right.
Was it a greasy, intentional play? Of course it was. He saw his numbers and the game was over and he buried him. That's exactly what Max Domi did. Now, I also don't think there's going to be any carryover to the next game. This whole Matthew Tkachuk episode at the end, is he going to throw a vicious elbow at Nylander and get suspended for 20 games? He's not doing that. Yeah, exactly. Matthew Tkachuk isn't going to do anything but play. He's going to play. He'll try to hit you if he can hit you. But him at the end of the game telling Willie, I'm coming for you. No, he's not.
Those 80s threats aren't. They don't
exist.
Yeah.
And they definitely don't exist with Matthew Tkachuk because he's a legit player.
Yeah.
He's going to play 18, 19, 20 minutes, and he's not going to throw some crazy elbow to get suspended because Barkov got hit. That's not going to happen. And I don't think Nylander should care about it, would care about it. We'll see what comes of it Game 5. But these are all the ebbs and flows of what is turning into being a great series now.
Aren't you?
You got a best 2 out of 3, and there's animosity and there's hatred here. It's great.
Don't you feel good about the Maple Leafs actually being part of a series like this? We haven't seen this type of intensity or rivalry or even physicality. Like, it's been a very physical series.
It's been incredibly physical through 4 games.
Wouldn't you like to see their top players be a part of it, though?
For sure.
That's the difference.
I was going to ask you guys, like, maybe the greasiest play, because we just laughed about it last week, the Dale Hunter on Pierre Turgeon.
Yes.
When Bennett scores, Willie had a chance to bury him. Like, bury him on the back check and say, hey, you just got the puck off and I finished my check.
Yeah.
And he stops up. Now, again, that is a very, very gray area, because when the play is done, again, the Dale Hunter, Domi Barkov stuff. But I think Bennett finishes that hit. I guess is the way I would put it. If you're in opposite skates, yes, Bennett would have and then played dumb and said, "Oh, I didn't know it went in," or "Hey, like watch this. We're watching it on TSN 4. He scores, and Willie's like, "Nah, I'm good." And you could have just buried him, or at least cross-checked him and buried him, because the game's over there. Yeah. Like, just destroy him with a cross-check.
By the way, not only Bennett, 7 other guys on that red team would have done that.
Would have done that.
Kulakov being one of them.
Yeah, and he had a chance. Right. And again, I'm not surprised, because we're 9 years in. Those guys aren't wired that way. Mm-hmm. They're not. They're not going to do it. You know,
they're just like they don't go looking for it. It doesn't mean they're just running from it. They just don't go looking for it. That's the difference.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the way I don't know. You guys tell me I'm wrong.
You asked me about the top players. I think a player I absolutely love watching in this series is Matthew Knies.
It's been unbelievable. Right in the mix of everything.
Everything. And this guy plays with so much energy, so much intensity. He's been the best forward on that line.
Yes.
Matthews and Marner.
That's his line through
pretty
4
much.
games.
And so I was talking about it this morning. And there's a lot of talk around Matthews and not being able to score, and Mitch Marner elevating his game. If you're Marner and Matthews and your line mate is Matthew Knies and you're watching him play like that, is it that hard to look at him and say, I got to play like that too? And I'm not asking Matthews and Marner to play with the same physicality that
Matthews could. Marner's not built the same way.
Well, you can't tell me they can't play with the same energy or intensity that he plays with. Think about if those two guys with their skill sets played with that type of energy and that type of intensity. They'd be unstoppable.
Well, again, we're 9 years in, and I don't know.
And that's the frustrating part.
Can't hold your breath.
We always resort back to that, right?
Yeah.
We've seen this story over and over again, but they're in a 2-2 series, and they haven't had to like carry the load yet.
Yeah, well, that is a testament to the team in general.
Yeah. I always talk about buying time, and it's like some other guys have bought them a lot of time.
That's
a lot of time.
Right.
And you bring up an interesting point, Carlo. Like, it's like Matthew Knies' intensity, it's almost like appropriate for the circumstances, where it's, I don't know, you just see some of the starts of the games, and it's kind of like slowly blending into the game, where this guy comes out shooting out of a cannon every night. And I don't know why that's not the expectation or the reality for every top player. It's like, that's the circumstances. Like, we're in desperation mode. It's like you got a chance to go to a quarterfinal or a semifinal where you might like the matchup. So, like, where's the desperation? Like, it's awesome that he's got it, because he brings it every single shift.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would argue, again, it's a testament to what Knies is doing, that he is the guy you expect to drive that line, but that's not the way it's drawn up.
No chance.
And that's fine if it's one night here, one night there. It has been consistent throughout 10 playoff games. And as a result, Matthews and Marner have contributed in other areas, and they're killing penalties and winning draws and drawing penalties, and there's a lot of different things they're doing well. But I started the show, we all did, and at 4 o'clock, almost in awe of the fact that there's somewhat of a debate among Leaf fans about whether or not the expectation is fair to suggest that Matthews should score. Like, he's got to score at some point. He's got. That's who he is. That's what he does, and everyone's got to elevate their game. But we just saw in his last 20 playoff games, he's got 3 goals.
Yeah.
Like that's a
9 against the Panthers.
That's a 12-goal pace.
That's
not
good.
That's Pontus Holmberg statistics. That cannot be Auston Matthews. And I know he's got cookies in other areas. He's got apples. He's got, there's a number of different things.
He's a guy you look at to expect to score big goals.
He's got to score big goals. He's got to have a big moment. And again, like O just said, everyone's bought them time. You got a best 2 out of 3 where you've got home ice. It's right in front of you to do that.
Yeah. There's a legacy moment just sitting there, hanging there.
Begging for it, man. Begging for it.
And honestly, I cannot stand people saying, oh, Matthews is dealing with something. There's no way
he's playing every single night, 20 minutes a night.
Dude, he's winning every faceoff.
Yes, he's playing, and everyone's banged up.
Leon Draisaitl was scoring goals with a high ankle sprain.
Yeah,
2 years ago.
Bum hand.
Yeah. And a bum hand. It's like
it's the playoffs.
At some point, it's like if you put your equipment on it, and you know this in playoffs, you put your equipment on, nobody looks at you as if you're dealing with something.
No. The judge is being 100%. It's like, okay, you decided you're putting the jersey on, you go out there and play. It's like, and there's no, I just didn't, like, as soon as the jersey goes on, it's game over.
He's still getting chances to score.
Mm-hmm.
Not like he's invisible out there. He's got to bear down.
Yeah, you got to find one shot where it goes through, and then you get your confidence going, all of that type of stuff. I mean, he's a streaky guy, but in the end, he's got to break through because that's what's going to be needed here in these last, we'll call it 3 games because I feel like this is going the distance. So,
Carlo Colaiacovo with us. What did you guys make? We haven't talked about the Mason Marchment tapping the ref after he was pissed off that they missed a couple calls.
I got no problem with it. I know you're not supposed to touch the ref, but I think I just think they probably have a relationship, and like, if he had whacked him on the back of the leg, you're like, okay, man, you're going to have to pay the price for that one. But I honestly, I don't know. The thing is someone else going to do it and say, well, Mason Marchment.
That's the concern, the slippery slope.
He got away with it.
Antoine Vermette, what was it, that got 10 games, didn't he, for hacking the
that was a goofy one, though.
He got one. Well, he slashed the linesman off of a draw in Anaheim.
But that was in the back of the legs, wasn't it?
He was so pissed about the drop that he gave him a shot. But I don't know. It is a slippery slope because the ref should be 100% off limits. And I think Marchment, I think he got off with one. Put it that way.
I think he's lucky, too.
Because I think they could have written it up and said, you know what, yeah, it's fine, this guy gave me a tap, and the league goes, we have to deal with this. You can't go, well, Mason Marchment said sorry or he didn't mean to, and then the next guy who does it goes, well, that guy didn't. Like, it's a bad precedent to set.
Like if they suspended him, no one would be surprised.
Right, but I think
nobody.
I think it was revealed, too, that there was a comment from the referee that said he didn't feel like there was...
Well, obviously it was the ref's discretion because he didn't call anything.
Right.
He could have given him a penalty, a 2 and a 10 immediately.
And maybe that goes to what O says about maybe there's a relationship there and he was just trying to get his attention. But
it was more than just getting his attention. He wasn't getting his attention. He wasn't saying, "Hey, the puck's over here." He was
love tap.
He was going to the bench pissed, and he gave him a whack. Yeah. Like it wasn't vicious.
Pissed too.
Yes, I mean, I think you could let him off the hook if he was calm in a way.
Right.
If it was like, hey, more playful. That was not a playful play by Mason Marchment.
No,
he was bent out of shape, and he gave him a whack.
Coco, what did you think of the directing of the puck into the net? Let's hear your
Alex
thoughts on
Petrovic scoring on Hellebuck to make it 3-2.
Thank you. See? It's
I don't
no
goal.
He propelled the puck into the net.
Again. How about the new word, Coco? Propel. Yeah. It just entered the chat yesterday.
Right. So you mean to tell me from behind the net, I could kick the puck into the direction of the net and hope it hits somebody and goes in, and it's going to count? You're still
That's why
these that's what we're telling you.
No, but what they're saying, if it hits somebody, it's no goal. What they're saying is that Hellebuck shot it into his own net.
Which I think he did.
Propulsion.
Okay.
That's what they're saying.
Okay.
Well, what the hell's the difference? If it goes off anybody, it's just no goal. No goal.
Because the puck was going a different direction.
That's where I said you got caught up in the location of Petrovic.
How did the puck get there? The puck got there because it was kicked there.
Thank
right?
you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, to me, I look at these rules or I look at these calls and I say to myself, okay, how many people are in the war room actually discussing this?
I love that it's in Toronto, too. Okay? Like people in Winnipeg, their minds are
exploding. People, if there's 6 people, how does the conclusion coming out of this that there's an overall consensus that that's a good goal? I think when I look at plays like that, I always say to myself, okay, what's going to be more controversial? Is it going to be if we don't call it a goal? Because people are going to say, oh, it's a kick and goal. They're not going to make any big deal about it. But you call it a goal, and everyone starts asking, why is it a goal? How is that? Right. How is that in the rule book of, like, because literally everybody, including us, is asking how that was a goal. And think about how pivotal that goal was.
Oh, it was the winning goal in the end.
Right.
I mean, that was the backbreaker. They were done effectively after that goal. But I don't know. My general rule is a tie would go to keeping a goal on the scoreboard. Like, I don't like the idea of taking goals off.
I'm all for that. I'm all for finding more ways to score goals. But at the end of the day,
and I believe the rule in the ruling on the ice was good goal.
Good goal.
Which, again, I don't know if that matters. I don't even know why that matters when you're reviewing it for 8 minutes. I mean, clearly you're debating it and you're going back and forth.
That's the thing. If it goes 8 minutes, that means they're split. It's a split vote.
It is.
And they're going, okay. Plus, they also have to get the messaging right because we were going through the rule book in real time. Frankie Corrado had the rule book out.
That's right.
Yeah, Frankie had the rule book out. We were arguing. Glenn Schiller's like, that's not a goal. We got Billy Dodd. Like, everybody's weighing in on it. And I go, okay, let's establish if it's kicked. Yes, we all believe it's kicked. Now, the propel word is just so funny because it's like, well, he propelled it into the, and the league made sure that the ref actually said he propelled it into the net because
why don't we
if
just
not,
stick with simple words in simple hockey terminology. It started with a kick. The end destination was the back of the net. Therefore, we have no goal. And
simple.
That's fine. I hear you guys, but guess what? It didn't play out that way.
Oh, I know.
And now Winnipeg is down 2-1, and Hellebuck gives up 5 on the road every single time he plays on the road.
That's the narrative now.
And they've got Game 4 tomorrow night, and he better give up 3 or less. I mean, I don't know. You can't say anything different than that.
What's the bigger story in that series, Hellebuck or Rantanen?
That's a great question.
I think it's Rantanen, isn't it?
This guy is insane.
Yeah, it's probably Rantanen. Although Rantanen really did. He started the party in Game 7 of the previous series. Even Game 6. He had 4 points in Game 6
he had
against
11
Colorado.
points in the last 3 games in that series.
I mean, he had 3 points last night.
He had a hat trick in Game 1.
Yeah. I guess it is Rantanen. Maybe you're selling me on that. But he could still go cold and Dallas can win. Winnipeg can't win if Hellebuck doesn't smarten up on the road. Yeah. Like I know they have home ice, but they lost Game 1, so they kind of lost home ice to an extent. So he's got to smarten up. He's got to play better tomorrow.
Did you see the shot that Nazem Kadri took at?
That's what we were talking about earlier this afternoon. You got to keep the dogs, man.
Dude, he's right. You want to think outside the box and have all these creative ideas. You want to gas the dogs. You're going to pay the price sometimes, and it would just be crazy because. You sit in a boardroom and you talk yourself into thinking we need depth, we need the salary, we need this, we need that, and he's the reason you get punted from the playoffs, and then he's just starting to punt other teams. Yeah. Like, you got to be sitting there watching that saying, what on earth did we just do?
I saw your tweet yesterday. He should be the Conn Smythe even if they don't win the cup.
They lose the second round, give him the Conn Smythe. Leaving the building out in the second round, Conn Smythe. It's been incredible what Rantanen has done. Just amazing.
How are you feeling where the Leafs are? 2-2, 3.
I think Game 5 is a must-win.
Absolutely.
I think it's a must-win for the Leafs. You got to get back on the horse, man. You can't allow Florida, like they win 3 in a row, then you got to go down to Florida and win that game on the road. That's going to be a very daunting task. I feel like the Leafs, it's a must-win on Wednesday. That's the first time that's happened for them this year.
How much do you think the loss Friday night played into the way they played yesterday?
I don't know. I mean, it was very similar to the last series, right? Game 4 in Ottawa, they lose in overtime. Then they were awful in Game 5, and then to their credit, they got on the horse again in Game 6 and figured it out. If it's the same storyline here, it's all good. Yeah. I do think that's deflating because not only because they lost in overtime, but they had a 2-0 lead and a 3-1 lead. Like, you have multiple 2-goal leads in a game where you can basically show them the door. That's crushing. That definitely stung. That Game 3 was the bigger heartbreak.
That for sure.
Yeah, without question.
You had the Joseph Wall performance in yesterday's game in Game 3. We're talking about a different series.
You probably are. They're probably up 3-1, and you're feeling great about Wednesday night. Got any PGA leans? Anyone in particular at Quail Hollow this week that you like?
My guy Sepp Straka won.
Oh, I know.
I've been on him every tournament. I didn't.
You love Sepp Straka?
He's
my guy.
He's your guy. Sepp Straka's your guy. Not our guy.
Just for value. Just for value.
Yeah, he does bring value. Wins.
Yeah, every once in a while he does.
Yeah, I loved him at Augusta. Guy didn't even make the cut. Sucked at Augusta.
Gotta like Rory's chances, no?
Yeah, he loves Quail.
Dude, he's won on that property 4 times.
I'm on Scheffler this week.
Well,
big time this week.
See him blow out the field last tournament?
I think Scott and Xander's sniffing around.
I'll do a side 500 with my guy if you want.
We've already established that. I'm on Scheffler. You're on Rory. He's on McElroy.
Done.
McElroy's going to win every week now.
Would you put it past him?
I would put it past him to win every. Guy doesn't win a major for 11 years.
He had his D game in Philly, and he finished 7th with his D game.
I hear you. Scheffler wasn't even there. He'll be there this week. Coverage of the PGA Championship on OverDrive brought to you by Subaru. Hurry to the all-in-one event for great offers and experience all the features that come standard in a Subaru. All right, Carlo, we'll catch you tomorrow at 6 a.m.
Can't wait.
First up, there he is, Carlo Colaiacovo. But first up with our main man, Aaron Korolnik.
Your main man.
My main man, Aaron Korolnik. The Sepp Straka of TSN. No, I was going to do the Korolnik and Colaiacovo, and then I was like, I better say his full name.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
Good times. All right, buddy. Good seeing you. CJ still to come. Kevin Lowe coming up in about an hour. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, we got the NBA draft lottery tonight. Sounds like Masai will be down there representing the Raptors. It's always a smart play because if you win it, you want to be at the face. You want to be the forefront of that, right? Like if you end up flipping that number one pick, you can't be sending a player down there or an assistant down there. You got to have the big guy down there. So Masai, I believe, will be down there.
Well, some guys don't want to show their face because they're embarrassed.
Yeah, sometimes, especially if you're in the lottery all the time. Masai's cool with it because they had a decade where they were never close to the lottery for the most part. The one year they ended up going Scotty Barnes. They move up, I think, from 7 to 4 and pick Scotty.
What's their percentages now, Hayes? 7%?
Yeah, so here is the full breakdown. Let me look at it here. To win it, number 1 seed 7.5%. Number 2 pick is 7.8%. Number 3, 8.1. Number 4, 8.5. And then to stay at 7, which is where they currently are in terms of the standings, is 19.7%. The most likely outcome is them moving back to 8, which is at 34.1%. So 1 in 3 chance they actually move back as opposed to up. But I don't know. The NBA lottery is always crazy. There's always crazy outcomes. And Masai's going to be down there. And you see NBC announcing today that Michael Jordan is going to be a special contributor to their NBA coverage.
Cool. Right?
I don't know what to expect out of him.
You don't think so? Like I want him to be. What if he's like on the desk with like a cigar or something?
That would be outstanding.
It would be
television.
like just him going, "I'm doing what I want on this desk."
Yeah.
Like I think that would be a throwback. Unbelievable if he had a.
What exactly is his role going to be?
I think it'll be similar to Gretzky with TNT. Not as involved, but like Gretzky doesn't do everything, and I think he's got it in his deal where he shows up 20 times or whatever. Yeah. And it's Wayne Gretzky, and then it's the Gretzky show. And I'm assuming NBC's thinking the same thing. Can we get you to come in for opening night? Can we get you to come in for a couple of big games? Is he working on Christmas? Possibly. That's a big day in the NBA. I would think you'd be involved in some capacity, something to do with the playoffs. But it's NBC. And I saw Stephen A. Smith talking about it this morning. He's like, which guy are we going to get? Because Jordan, I guess, is famous for you get him off the record talking in a private chat. He's carving guys and this and that.
Rips guys, hates guys.
Or are you going to get the kind of classy ambassador?
Yeah, the phony, the politician.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Where because I just don't know what's in it for him. The guy is literally a billionaire. Yeah. Like, what is he doing it for? I don't know.
Some guys just can't stay. Like, you would think that he would have the coolest life of luxury where it would be like vacay every day, the greatest vacay day of your life every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But some guys are just addicted to the juice, man, where it's like, I got to have some kind of red light go on, whether that's the score clock or the television, and I got to be involved, and I can't just sit on the sidelines. It would be fascinating to speak to him face-to-face behind closed doors to get his real take, because I would bet money that he cannot stand this LeBron is the GOAT and LeBron's better than MJ. Yeah. This probably privately makes this guy sick to his stomach.
Yes, I think so. And I if that is the case, I want to see it come out on TV.
Me too.
On NBC. And I want to see him because, there's a very good chance he'll be doing something with NBC when they have a Laker game. Right? Like he's going to be covering LeBron. Again, I don't have the full details of exactly what they plan on doing with him. But it speaks to the magnitude of Michael Jordan. Like, this rang out this morning. When this broke, like, MJ is going to be doing stuff with NBC, people are going nuts because it's him, right? Because it's Jordan. And for the most part, he's just been in the background. Like, by all accounts, the guy plays 45 holes of golf every single day. Like, he locks in and just goes around and around. I know I have friends who have been to his course, and they said he played through them twice.
Wow!
Because he just flies around the course, and like literally, they're like, here comes MJ. Like, move. He's playing. Like, he's not waiting for you to get off the green. Like, he's going to play, and then he motors around, and you're on the back nine, and then he's back. You're like, this guy just went all the way around the course playing. Like, he plays like 45 holes in like 5 hours and goes home.
Crazy. Is that how you guys? Have you guys
that's
been
absurd, man. That's absurd. I haven't been playing nearly as much. The weather's so nice, but there's so much going on, and you're dialed in on what's going on in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I don't even know how anybody could like playing that. Like, 18 holes of golf is more than enough for me on any given day. Like,
I agree, man.
Hit some balls, hit some putts, and then 18 holes. Like, get me the hell out of there. I have no interest in 36 unless it's completely beautiful like it was today and the course is empty. That's it.
Yes, and that's a special day. You grab a bite in between. But I don't think, like, again, this is all secondhand. I don't know if this is accurate, but I don't think Jordan stops. Like, he just keeps playing.
Wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm going back. I'm going around. Like, there's no pit stop inside for a club sandwich for 45 minutes and then gets back out there and hits balls. That's possibly what's happening as well. But it's amazing, these legends of the game. Like, Tom Brady is in the booth for Fox, and now Jordan, and that could be a part of it too. Is that Jordan's looking at it saying, like, if Brady's doing something and Gretzky's doing something at TNT, like, I didn't ever expect Wayne Gretzky to do any media to the capacity that he is.
No,
right.
Like, I never thought I'd see him just on a panel talking about Washington, Carolina, and that's what he's doing. Yeah. So it's kind of incredible how a lot of these legends of the game, Gretzky, Brady, and now Jordan, they're all involved.
Dude, it's a love for the game and the juice that goes with it. Like, it's not playing, it's not golfing, it's not gambling, but there's some juice involved to it where it's like you're involved in some capacity, right?
Yeah.
Well, you feel a part of it a little bit, like you're talking about it. Like, all of us love it. We all sit around and talk hockey with our buddies anyways. Why not get to do it? I mean, I'm sure those guys do it all the time anyways. They talk hockey, they talk sports. These you pointed it out. They're billionaires, or worth. Some of them are worth hundreds of millions of dollars if they're not billionaires yet. So it's not about the money. It's more about what do you need to get out of bed in the morning? What
a negotiation that is. Like, right? There's a backstory here as to how Jordan got in, right? Like, who at NBC even had the stones to say, you know what, I'm going to just throw a Hail Mary and ask him. Yeah. I'm going to call him, try to get him on the line, and say, do you want to do something with NBC?
Well, you'd have to call somebody above that and say, what do we have in the chamber to give this guy if he tosses something back at us? Because it would probably be like, imagine a guy saying to you, every time I step in the door, it's $1 million. Like, I'm not, like, that's not out of the question.
It may
this
be
guy
that.
Yeah.
Yes. It may be like, all right, we got you 15 times because our budget's $15 million.
Yeah.
So we need to figure out how to make this work.
Yeah.
And because, like with Brady, Brady's got that lucrative deal with Fox, but he calls games, and he'll do some studio stuff, which I'm sure is baked into his deal. Like, I think he does some stuff for FS1. He does some stuff for the pregame. Like, I'm sure everything is laid out. He's not winging anything. no one from Fox is saying, hey, just, you mind doing something over here? Like, that's not happening with him.
Just think about the guy in delivering mail in that building who's trying to get 37,000 as opposed to 35, and they're like, can't do it.
Yeah.
But they offer MJ $1 million every time he steps foot in the building.
It's crazy.
It is absurd.
Crazy.
It's absurd, man. That's like Tony Romo. Remember when Romo's deal went down? We were all like flabbergasted because I think he makes $1 million a game.
Yeah.
I think he signed for like $16-17 million a year. And if Nance,
Tony Romo's $20 million, buddy. He's $20 million a year.
Okay, so but if you include the playoff games, then it works out to probably working 20 weeks a year.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else. There's no pre-games. There's no anything else for CBS. And he's got it in his deal that if Nance isn't in the booth, he's not in the booth.
It's Nance the whole time, right?
Yes. So like when Nance, something came up with Nance.
Dude, it's probably Nance might have been doing some golf.
That's what it was. I think Nance was calling. He was at Torrey Pines or something. And the CBS game was on the Saturday afternoon, and Romo's like, oh, well, I guess I got the week off. And it's crazy. Like,
and that's probably he's not going to Dallas International Airport. He's a private bird there and back.
Well, those are the famous one. Like Al Michaels is private bird.
Yeah.
He lives in L.A. and they'll be playing the Niners, private bird, and stays at different hotels, like by all accounts. It's like all the other staff is like wherever they happen to be, and he's got it in his deal where it's like Four Seasons penthouse.
Yeah.
And if we're doing meetings, production meetings, they will be at the Four Seasons.
Yeah. Speaking of hotels, I think that I've just been made aware that is a part of the staying over type process too, because if the game goes into like triple overtime, it's a mad scramble to book hotels. So
That's
I think
true.
it might be done prior.
That's a good point. You're talking about the Leafs staying in Florida last night.
Yeah. When you ask like why are teams like staying over there, I think the hotels are one of the main reasons, because you don't want to have a mad scramble at 1:30 in the morning trying to get everybody a hotel room.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And that makes a lot of sense. And in the end, why not? Like, just stay there, grab a bite, fly back today. The Leafs have landed. They're back home. And we'll see what comes of it as of Wednesday night. All right, Chris Johnston, who's been down in Florida, his take on the series and what else is going on throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs, including 2 games tonight. Carolina, massive favorite. Last time I checked on FanDuel, they're like minus 260 to win tonight.
Washington just went flat.
Flat, man.
Yeah.
Like everyone is like basically turning the lights out on Washington. Is that reasonable? Is that the way it's going to play out? We'll see. We'll get to that later this afternoon. Our best bets coming up as well. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. Feels like we have to give a daily Bill Belichick update. And there's some real smoke out there. There could be some fire at some
What's
point.
This guy doing?
Pablo Torre, this guy a reporter. He is backing his report, like he's not backing down from it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that his girlfriend has been banned from the football facilities. And now, like, a lot of people are starting to think there's no chance Bill makes it to week 1.
No way.
This circus is just going to come to an end, and Carolina's just going to say, we can't keep doing this. Like, it's too sloppy. Because he's going on one of the morning shows with Michael Strahan. Strahan's going to interview him.
Why?
This week.
Just go away till football.
Well, here's the problem. He's got a book he's plugging. So he's got obligations.
Yeah, but
but
the
dude,
thing,
if I'm UNC, I'm like, sorry, Bill, you're not doing this one. You've caused it. That's enough.
Yeah,
Stop it.
I hear you. And Strahan's not going to bury him. That's not his nature. But you got to ask him about this report.
Of course.
You got to say, hey, what's up with your girlfriend? Like, is she banned? And, is she around here? Like, is she in the corner staring at us? What's happening? But now, like, I wonder if there's a line out there, Duke, if you can find it. I doubt FanDuel would have a line on this. But will Bill Belichick coach week 1 of the football season at North Carolina?
Could you imagine that's a line? Like,
I'll bet you it's a line out. You can bet on that somewhere, Noodles. I guarantee it. I just don't know where. I think I'd bet him not making it.
Really?
I think I might. I don't know.
It's crazy.
Just, there's just so many distractions and everything already, and like they're not even. We're barely into the spring of them playing, practicing and stuff. Like no one's even reported to campus yet. And Bill Belichick, it never stops. The guy's in the news all the time.
Wow, you wait until Like, how old is she? 24?
24, yes.
Wait until she wants to go to one of the team parties or something, and there's guys that are 24 years old on the team. Type of thing.
Bill's going to have to.
He might have himself a problem there.
Make
too.
sure he keeps. Yeah, he's got to keep an eye on.
You guys
things.
know that I'm quick on the trigger as far as nonsense. I would say, Bill, you're gone. I'm sorry. We're not doing this. This is such a goofy look. You're 76 years old. And your 24-year-old girlfriend is running around this campus like she's the director of football operations. It's insanity, and it's sorry.
Well, that's
no
it.
Way.
If it's and Pablo Torre, like you said, is like adamant. He's like, I'm telling you, this is what's going on. I don't know, like, how do you get sources on a school campus? You know, you like. I don't know where he's getting that from.
Well, he wouldn't put his credibility in the line if it was a joke.
No, that's I'm not disputing that. But now again, Belichick's doing this Strahan interview, and it's like, where is this going to go? Because truthfully, no one cares about his book. That's another part of this.
Yeah,
like you're doing a book tour, and nobody cares about your book.
Well,
like as great a coach as this guy was, I don't know one person that wants to read about Bill. Like, he's just not.
Yes.
He doesn't have that. He doesn't move the needle.
But
where
it's
like,
not
I gotta
a
read
tell-all.
it.
If it was a tell-all, I want to read it because this guy's literally
This guy
saying,
for 20 years said on to Cleveland every Sunday. Who wants to read about that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right. You're absolutely right. Like him writing about, inspiring coaches of the future.
Now, maybe if you had some jam as a coach, it would be different. But you didn't.
No.
There's no excitement level where
There's
people are like, I got to read this.
It hurts my heart because it's tarnished this guy's legacy. What's going on right now? Like this, his last 2 calendar years have been a disaster.
Yeah.
From where New England went, him moving on, getting fired, whatever, and now he's dating a 24-year-old, and his life is kind of in upheaval. Like this is
he crawled down in that ring
coach of all
cam with
time.
no jersey on, man. It just
well, that's another thing. People are starting to sniff around on that. Like, how did that get out?
Yeah.
Who had access to the ring camera?
Yeah, and who made their ring camera videos available to everyone?
Who sold it somewhere? That's what some people are wondering.
All right.
Hour 3 coming up.
You can't do me dirty like that. And drop that little
OverDrive
nugget.
continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.